What's up, everybody? We're here for a super special episode of Data Delicacies live from the NRA show. As you can see, we are in amazing Chicago. I'm super excited about this guest because he's a very, very good friend of mine, the one and only Mr. Dan Diaz from F3. Dan, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for letting us take over your booth.
You guys did.
Yes.
But anything for a friend.
Yes, and we got water here, no Malort. If you know Dan Diaz, you know Malort's his favorite drink. And for all you native Chicago people know who Malort and what Malort is. I found out the very, very hard way. But Dan, for all of our viewers there, why don't you tell people who F3 is?
So F3 Technologies, we are a implementation company and a MSP, which is a managed service provider for restaurants and bars. So we are installing point of sales all across the world, actually, because we're in the US, we're in Canada, we're in the UK now. But then we also set up a contract, if you will, with the restaurants and bars. They can call us for support. So we are a one-stop shop for support within the restaurant space and helping out restaurateurs.
Yeah, so the team in Incentivio is super excited to have them as great partners. And the main reason for that is because they work so closely with restaurants, understanding the needs of what that is. And I think we've learned a lot from your group about, I guess, the gap of what vendors are offering and what operators really need. I mean, what are some of the things you're hearing, as you go in and you work so closely with these restaurants that us as vendors could do a better job of in terms of, providing our platforms, educating the customer? I mean, you hear it firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is that restaurateurs don't have time. Staffing is still kind of hard to do, and turnover is high, so they don't have someone to do everything they need. And it's a really big pain point because they have enough things going on. Everything's up with inflation, food prices, what's going to do this, what's going to do that. They don't have the time for it. So that's the best thing that's going on right now is partners actually taking more time to train the customers and answer them and be there for them.
Got it. And I mean, you've brought over some amazing clients to us over at Incentivio. What were some of the gaps you saw in what they were using, and why did you think that we were a good fit for those specific clients?
The big thing for me was your hospitality and the way you guys treat your customers. That is something that's near and dear to me. I don't pick just any partner to recommend to a customer. They have to be someone that I know is going to take care of my customers, because at the end of the day, they associate your brand with F3. If we make a bad intro, then we're going to look bad to them. Right. And so that is my big thing. You guys, the way you guys have attention for your customers, I loved it. That's the best thing ever, honestly.
Yeah. And I love to hear that. I think that's the reason that Dan and I became such close friends, and we've been fortunate enough to see each other at a lot of different shows all over the world now. US, Canada, and the UK, which has been a lot of fun, including sharing a teapot together. Which we won't get into that story. But you talk about this. What does loyalty mean to you?
Well, loyalty to me means, like, if something goes wrong, I know who I can call. And that person's going to answer the phone and take care of me. And in the landscape that we're in, that's a big thing. Our IT customers know they're going to call us, and we're going to answer, and we're going to go through everything we can to make sure they are fixed. NRA last year, we had a site go down. They kept frying their routers over and over again. We couldn't figure out why. So last year during NRA, we dispatched a tech at 11 o'clock at night to go swap out their hardware. Come to find out that they had some work done, and the outlet we were in wasn't grounded. Okay. So loyalty is being for the customer what they need to be, when they need them to be.
Yeah. So it sounds like, with all this tech that's going on for you, loyalty is that human piece, which is what you provide and why your customers love you guys, use you guys so much.
Yeah, that's our whole model, right? We are going to be there for you no matter what. I have done it myself, where I've done 36 hours at a restaurant over a couple of days, making sure they were finally fixed the right way.
Yeah.
You've heard some of my horror stories of just doing things until I could see straight anymore. Just because I'll never ask my techs to do anything that I won't do myself. And that's the way we train at F3 as well.
Yeah. So, you've made a few rounds around the show. Let's kind of talk about NRA. What are some of the cool things you're seeing or you've seen at this show over the last couple of days?
Honestly, I haven't left the booth. We've been so busy here, I have not walked the floor yet. I got to have some grilled cheese yesterday, but
there you go.
That's about it.
What are most folks coming to you talking about when you come to your booth?
Well, first thing they see, what is this big wall, which you guys are listening can't see. It's a giant video wall behind us. They think that we are the wall people, but we're not, but it gets their attention. So we're hearing a lot of networking. Restaurants do not have good networks. It looks like a rat's nest. So how can we help them with that? Why are we so cheap? Because we make ourselves cost affordable for restaurants because they have a shoestring budget sometimes,
Yeah.
So a lot of networking, a lot of support for the POS side of things, and just being someone that they know is going to answer the phone.
And are you finding that, with all this different tech coming out there, some of it's almost becoming too complicated for restaurants to deploy, which almost makes your services even more valuable now as we get into this era of, digital everything or AI and all of this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the care and attention gets given. Again, that's my big thing, is the care and attention. Things are complicated as you add more and more into your tech stack. And again, going back to one of our previous questions, like staff turnover is still high. So someone knows it that's here today, may not be here tomorrow, and then the restaurant is in a bad spot.
Yeah. I mean, we hear the staff turnover stuff. My previous life, obviously, at 7 Shifts, kind of dealing with that stuff. It sounds like more and more states now, and I know you work all across the U.S. and Canada and in Europe, but let's focus on the U.S. side of things. More and more states are starting to have different legislations and legality around this stuff. Is that stuff that you get looped to in as well? We have to try to help out and navigate that piece?
Not really. I mean, we navigate our own internally as we hire across.
Right.
But I mean, that doesn't really affect us.
Yeah, got it. What are some of the tech trends that you're seeing that excite you? As we look into the back half of this year.
I haven't walked the floor, so I got that going for me. It seems like a lot of the bigger players in the landscape are starting to listen more to the customers. I know that's nothing new. I understand that, but that is a big thing, and I think that's a great thing. I mean, at the end of the day, hospitality is hospitality.
Yeah.
Whether you are doing a software, whether you're doing a hardware, whether you're a restaurant. And that's a big thing. And I love seeing that being more of a focus again.
So you're a proud Chicago guy. Tell me tell everybody as often as you can. Everyone's coming here to your hometown. What are some of the things that you're proud to show off as a Chicago native in the hospitality scene?
Well, I took you on Thursday to my favorite restaurant to take people from out of town, which is La Scorola.
Yes.
We had a great, amazing dinner there. That's one of my absolute favorite places to take someone. Their food is so amazing. Don't ride the L. Don't ride the L. No one wants to ride the L. Take your Ubers, go that way. Things to do here. See, I haven't done much in the last 4 years, outside for fun. Where's my go-to? Pequods. You gotta go Pequods.
Yes.
I mean, and it is a myth. We do not just eat deep dish pizza all the time. That's not us. That is a myth. But they do have a good deep dish pizza. Lou Malnati's, that's a staple.
Yes.
I mean, we love those guys. We support them. They are very near and dear to my heart. Como. That's the place for our party tonight.
Yes.
I mean, food. You just come hungry because you're going to eat food. You can go get food anywhere else.
Yeah.
But Chicago, it's better.
I mean, I love the hospitality scene here in Chicago. I always have a good time whenever I come. How much do you feel, how would you rank the hospitality scene in Chicago versus all the other places that you visited, over the last 18 months?
I mean, I'm always going to be biased to Chicago. I could never put something above Chicago. It's just my heart. But, I mean, when we were in Austin has a great hospitality scene. They're very attention driven. They are very good there. I mean, I'd rank it high. I mean, I'm going to be biased. I can't give you, I'm not going to rank anyone else above us.
Yeah, okay. And what is it? Is there something specific about Chicago hospitality that stands out to you when you go elsewhere? You're like, this is missing.
Everyone knows everyone. That is a big thing here.
Yep.
And that's also why we are very oriented towards customer service, because when someone leaves one place, they go to another place, they think of how great F3 treated them, stuff like that. But I would say that what makes them better is just we deal with cold weather, and we deal with harsh winds.
Yeah.
So we can deal with anything.
Okay.
We can handle a lot of things because of that.
Yeah. I mean, Toronto and Chicago are very similar. You've been to Toronto.
Love it. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there's a lot of comparisons we can draw between the two.
Absolutely.
Are there any special initiatives or projects that F3 is working on, over the back half of this year or currently or going into next year that you want to share with the audience?
What are we going to do? It's always
Besides the world takeover.
take over the world is always going to be one of my go-tos. But honestly, we're just looking to talk with more customers and gain more customers. That's our whole focus for the NRA show, is grabbing them. I mean, things change in a minute for us. It could be something that pops up today I'll never even know about right now. So I don't have anything crazy that way in the plans.
Yeah.
We'll see though.
And I know, I've met a lot of your amazing team. They've all become friends as well. And I know you're super adamant about hiring people that come from restaurants. Why is that so important to you?
Because if you can survive the restaurant industry, you can survive anything. That's the reality. You have these rough nights where everything goes wrong and everything, you have that armor. You can handle anything.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. A few guests on the show have talked about this, and I think I see it more and more as I, walk the floor and trying to connect with folks, is sometimes there's this kind of vibe that it's all these tech companies are selling tech into hospitality versus, a hospitality mindset selling tech into hospitality, right? And how much do you think that tech companies, all the ones we see here, could learn from that, where having that hospitality mindset is that big difference sometimes in humanizing
Absolutely.
And making that connection to restaurants. Do you
Absolutely.
see a gap of that, with some of the folks that you work with?
I do.
Yeah.
But it seems as though they're listening and they're really starting to listen, which is great, because it is hospitality. Like I said it earlier, we're still in hospitality.
Yeah.
Just because you're in a tech doesn't mean you shouldn't be hospitable to people. And that's what I'm glad to see happening more and more of.
Yeah. And then, as you look at the shows, NRA is obviously the big one for the year. What are some of the other shows you're going to be at this year, and how do they, differ from the NRA? I know FS Tech is some of the ones I've seen you at, but what are some of your other favorite shows you're going to and why?
So every show is different, and that's good, right? But FS Tech will be there. We didn't do Mertech. We're doing the London show.
Yep.
So I'll see you there. And that'll probably be it for us. Which makes me sad though, is that that's not my hometown like it is here, where I can take all you guys out and have fun with you guys.
Yep.
I don't have any cool stories like over there, but it'll be a good time.
So talking about the UK market, I know that's a newer market for the F3 team, and you guys are doing really well there. What are some of the comparisons and differences between the US market?
Differences is the tipping, right? Tipping is not a thing.
Right.
Credit cards, we're used to just give me, here's my card, and they run the card. That doesn't happen there. But it's very similar. The industry over there is the industry over here. It's very similar.
Yeah. It's, even just from a tech perspective, I know that there are kind of few years, a lot of companies now are going there. I know you work closely with Toast and then just a few of the other partners there. So it's exciting to see you expand and do your thing. Coming from where you guys did a few years ago, it's a big kudos to what you've built.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you guys have a big party tonight.
We do.
When you look to host a party, right? You know how to throw a party. What are some of the key elements you need to make sure it's a great party?
It's a vibe. It's a vibe check. As many times as we've been out,
yes,
we like a cool, calm vibe that can set the tone. So it's about the vibe. It's about the people that we know. So we typically, we always do, we host at F3 IT customers, because it's my way of giving back to these customers who trust us to be their IT company. I was a bartender for 9 years. And so you used to go see the bartenders that came and saw you, show them some love, bring them some customers. It's the same thing. It's giving back to our own customers. They trust us. They pay us.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to go there, show our partners, our new friends, this cool spot. So it's about the vibe of being an IT customer of ours. Yeah. We will always love to spend money at our customers because we're giving right back to them.
Yeah. And you're one of the most hospitable people I know. If anyone that's met Dan, you guys know that. And you talk about being a bartender for 9 years. How much do you take out of that experience of being behind the bar and being that social person to now founding a company, right? How much of those similarities are there?
A lot, man. When you're a bartender, you're everything, right? You're a therapist, you're a bouncer, you're fixing things, you're everything. And you got to be able to switch between all that in a drop of a second. And that's no different than what I do now, right? I got to read body language. I have to understand what's going on. I have to really be in the moment and then out of the moment because I got to go to the next thing, right? Because I'm constantly working. I mean, being in the industry taught me so much, and I tell my wife, I'm going to make our kids work in a restaurant. I want them to go learn that because you learn so much. I mean, how can you not?
Yeah. And how important do you think? I mean, I feel like that's in some way, shape, or form. A lot of tech companies could incorporate some sort of training in a restaurant to understand that. That's interesting because I think I've actually never worked in restaurants before. I've always had family that worked in it, but I feel like being around the industry enough and seeing a lot of people, you understand both sides, and you need to, right? Because there's so much that's going on. To your point, the bartender's doing a million different things, or the restaurant manager, whoever it is, or multiple locations, single location. There's so much going on that's maybe flying over people's heads. You just don't understand it, and I think that really helps. I know with us, a lot of our team, especially on the post-sale side, on the onboarding side, comes from restaurants because you got to speak that language.
Yep.
And again, people that work in restaurants, they usually can kind of get through anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, our entire staff is all ex-industry. Sarah Pazulico over here was in the industry for 23 years. Puckett, same thing. And he's younger, but he was in the industry for almost a decade.
Yeah.
This is who we recruit. We
Yeah.
want these people because they are amazing people to have that
Yeah.
will help you in situations that it's crazy ones, right? You got to be able to flip a switch and
Yeah.
change things, and
Yeah.
that's industry people.
Yep. So I want to talk about something I know that's super core to your beliefs as a company and kind of like your mantra. So talking about the Crenshaw shirt you got on, right? So you're a big Nipsey Hussle fan. So why don't you tell everybody about that, how much Nipsey Hussle's, his story means to you, and that's, I think, the birth of the ethos of F3 and what you guys do.
Thank you, man. So I am a huge Nipsey Hussle fan since he first came out, a few years afterwards, actually. But what Nipsey Hussle did was he was self-made, right? He says self-made. He invested in himself. He owned his own masters. He then took that philosophy into business and bought up more property. And so I got laid off in April of 2020. And I was thinking about doing this whole thing. I had the idea. I thought about it. And I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do it because it's terrifying. I mean,
what was that hesitation? Why?
Could I do it?
Yeah.
Could I pull this off? Do I want to do it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a college dropout, right? I'm not some business school person, but I had that hesitation. And there's a song called Perfect 10. And on there he speaks about, and he's actually speaking, he says that I just didn't quit. And it was that song, it was that moment. He's he literally says, I didn't quit. So I'm in. And his saying is the marathon continues, and that life is a marathon.
Yeah.
And life is a marathon. And so I very proudly wear my Crenshaw shirts or my marathon shirts as a way, because he literally gave me the green light. Do it. Just do it, man. You got this.
Yeah. And I love that, man. And looking back on it now, I mean, I'm sure you've probably learned by making mistakes and learned by failing, but how often do you have that track or other the Nipsey tracks playing while you're going through this stuff?
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm not on a meeting, I have music on. I'm obviously a huge rap fan, but Nipsey's on at least once a day in my house.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my car, every single day. If I'm not in a meeting, there's music on, and I'm vibing.
Yeah, so actually one of our first calls together was I saw all the records you had in the background, and I don't even think we ended up talking about work until the very end. We started talking about music, and then but I think that's that's a lot of this industry is, right, creating those friendships or relationships that makes business much easier. But I love that story, man. That kind of went through that adversity, and you have this kind of soundtrack playing in the back of your mind that gets you through. And I mean, you rock. You probably, how many Crenshaw shirts do you have?
I think my wife counted 60. I have various colors. I mean, they're not all Crenshaw. They're just from the marathon.
Yeah.
The marathon clothing. She counted one night.
Yes.
She was like, you have 60 T-shirts.
Yeah. And you got a tattoo, the marathon?
I do have a tattoo. I have the marathon continues on my chest.
Yeah.
Again, it means a lot to me because when I'm having my moments where I'm stressed, I'm tired, I have 86 people that depend on me.
Yeah.
And so the marathon continues. Let's get through it and figure it out.
So as you marathon's going on right now. F3, you guys are doing amazing things. Like, what is that ultimate goal for you? Like, where do you see F3 getting to ideally in your mind?
You know, I don't know. The reality is that, like I said earlier, things can change in a minute for us. We could have a new partner. We could have a new this. And so just in reality, just we'll keep growing in size. We'll hire more people. We'll have more customers. And we'll just take care of people. And that's the reputation that we're getting, right? I mean, you've been out with me plenty of times. It's like F3. F3 is great to us. They take care of us. Yeah. And we got a great compliment last night from Manny's Deli. Didn't even know he was talking to me. He was talking about my company. It was great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Dan, thank you, man. Thank you for sharing your story. I want to wrap up with a quick lightning round. I'm going to ask you a few kind of fun questions first thing that come to your mind. I think I know the answers to some of these already, but I'm going to ask them anyways. So what's your current go-to cocktail of choice?
Tequila on the rocks.
Specific type of tequila?
Adictivo tequila is like my go-to at sipping at home. Okay. I do love a good Paloma. Okay. Or if I'm out with you guys for partnership stuff, I drink Tito's and Sprite.
Tito's and Sprite, yeah, that's right. You mentioned this already, but your favorite restaurant in Chicago?
Ooh, that's hard to say. You
got to pick one. Last meal.
Last meal.
The restaurant and the dish.
Ooh, he's lightning around. I'm going with Freddy's and Cicero.
Okay, yes, you mentioned that. And what were you getting from there?
Anything and everything. I mean, I've never had anything bad from there. Okay. I've been going there since I was a little kid. Okay. Love it. I would eat everything there.
Okay. Is there a home-cooked meal that you're famous for?
No.
Nothing?
No. I mean, if I make dinner, it's like something very easy, like chicken, spaghetti. Like, I'm not even...
Okay. Okay. What is a hip-hop track you have on repeat right now?
You know, anything Kendrick Lamar in the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
I mean, Not Like Us is on repeat.
So that's a shot at the Canadian guys, by the way, if y'all don't catch on. So
yeah. It is. I love this whole thing, but BBL Drizzy.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll probably hear it tonight.
Yeah. And then final question is, lunch party or dinner party, and why?
Lunch party or dinner party?
Why?
Why not? You can keep going as long as you want. You can have a vibe from tonight. 3 different floors, right?
Yes.
3 different concepts.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, that wraps up a live special episode with a very, very good friend, Dan. Dan,
thanks.
I can't thank you enough. Appreciate you being on. Again, F3 Technologies. Where can people reach out to you?
F3tech.com, Instagram at F3 Diaz. F3tech.com is right there. You can't miss it. Just hit us up and we'll fix your problems.
Amazing. So that wraps up another episode of Data Delicacies, hosted by yours truly, Arun, powered by Incentivio. We are looking for more guests on this amazing show. So if you're interested, reach out to me directly on LinkedIn or my email, arun@incentivio.com. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Peace out.
Thanks, guys.